Sorry. Yeah, we are coming to the most important part with the practical. They can ask. 1 minute. Yeah. So preparation lesson plan in yoga, preparation lesson plan for an individual and for a group. Presentation lesson in specific yogic practices, kriya, asanas, pranayama and dhyana. Assessment of a yoga class. Detection and correction of mistakes. Yoga institute or yoga practical classes which are taken, not YCB classes, practical classes. Okay, what is the assessment? How do the assessment of that? Measurement and assessment evaluation, concept, principle and applications. Then 10.13 examination, reforms and designing, formative and summative evaluation. Then 10.4 programming evaluation, yoga class, workshops, camps, yoga teaching and yoga teacher, and assessment of yoga centers and institutes, criteria, processes and instruments. Now we come to the first stage, assessment of yoga class and correction of mistakes. Okay. Now what should be the class? The open space concept for the main room. Pollution free, adequate illumination, sufficient ventilation, color scheme, aquatics, ceiling heights. The standard size of the yoga usually should be 20 square feet, 20 into 20 square feet of a yoga class. What the size of the yoga mat should be there? It is not a standard yoga mat which is now available in the market. What should be the yoga size? A mat should be. Sachi, what should be the yoga mat size? Sachi, unmute and just tell.
6 by 3, sir. 3 by 6 or 6.
The height is around about 5 to 6 feet.
5 to 6, yeah. Height is 5 to 6. Width is 3 feet.
And 3 feet width is to spread the legs. To spread the legs so the ankle touches the ground. Now, what are the guidelines for? In general, yoga practice is recommended in the morning or in the early evening. That you know everybody why. Bowl should be clear. Okay. Preferably take a bath. When you are clean from inside, the cleanliness also goes to outside. Yogic practice should start with a quiet mood which could be attained by reciting a short prayer. Everybody knows any mantras which suit the mind, which suit the morning atmosphere, whereby your thoughts get diminished and your concentration and focus will be more on the prayers, which ultimately come to the better results in asanas. Better results in asanas come to better results in pranayama. Arrive early. Why arrive early? Not to disturb the starting prayers at all. Please remember, the student should not disturb the starting prayer. What happens? Earlier, when I was taking the class some years back, I used to get boys, youngsters coming late with plastic. They will be having the Turkish towel in the plastic dish, and they'll be just putting bang it, so that what happens? The other people get disturbed who are in the dhyana stage. They get disturbed by the noise of this much. Okay. Of course, they never used to talk. The latecomers, they never talk, but the voice of the plastic cover makes them the other people listen. The plan to stay for the whole class. Leave your shoes outside the door. That is, leave your cell phones outside the door. It should be 6 into 3 for what Shashi has told. So it is needed to practice. Bring the water, a towel, and if possible, your own mat. Not a standard mat which is there. There should be preferably a Turkish towel, cotton or a mat conductor of it. Okay. Avoid perfume or scented lotion. Wear clothing appropriate for the class. As a track pant. So whereby your legs and hands can move. Okay. Shirts are not all full shirts are preferably avoided so that hand movement will not be restricted. Pants instead of pants should be track pant. Avoid wear clothing. Let the instructor know about any physical issues and preferences. The teacher should know about those who are having health issues, those who are normal, those who are very aggressive, Rajasic type, all the distinction should be known to the teacher who is taking the class and it should be kept in the back of the mind. Okay. Next, 10.9 normal participants of yoga group under the following head. Beginners group. Presence of all male and female, young and old, and special individuals who are making their first acquaintance with. They need general background of discipline. Experienced group, persons who have some experience with yoga, they wish to advance further to gain more varied and deeper experiences. School children, group ranging from the age of 6 to 16, they need the exposure to the field of yoga based on the immediate need of their age and temperament. Special attention group shows growth children. The individuals can vary from the basis of gender on the basis of the individual problems of the health or handicapped children. All these individuals need a special attention. Slow growth children. What is slow growth children? How do you define slow growth children or special attention group? CRE. What do you mean by special attention group or slow growth children? CRE.
Uh, yes, sir.
Come on. I wanted to be interactive, madam, please.
So special attention group is mentally retarded students or someone who have slow understanding capacity, uh, or someone who is emotionally unstable, something like someone who carries impressions of their past birth, or they carry or they have carried emotions, or I mean there are few that we get through our parents also, right? So through genes also we get it. So it can be because of that. There can be multiple reasons for which students need special attention.
Very good, very good. See, you have got a detailed explanation. So this is not be asked in exam, you should know in the background. Now, when in the group, when you're taking the class, these students should be segregated. All these students should be segregated. Preferably the last group. You should take a separate class for them. Okay. So there they need individual attention. If there are 5 to 6 people out of 25 people, 5 to 6 students are there, you should take a separate class for them because they need the individual attention, individual demonstration has to be given. Then we cannot explain the details of the yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutra basics and all. No, this can be experienced to experienced group. Slowly we have to go to the theory. Okay. School children, when they are learning it, yes, you can get some basics of this. They are more interested in the practical aspect of it. Okay. How pranayama helps in their studies. How the stress level can be brought down, especially 10th and 12th students. When you take the class, you should go more concentrate on the prayers. You should more concentrate on because they are already flexible. They can do any asanas. Okay. Even Sirsasana also some children can do it. But more so, relaxation is very much important. Prayers are very much important. And all pranayamas has to be done daily. So as the examination approaches, their practices should improve. And that practices should be seen on the studies, on the lessons on which they take. I've been selected in Bombay, in Goregaon, for a school to be taken on a weekly basis, twice or thrice. Okay. Omkar Yoga, under this, I'm going to take the class from next academic year. Preparation lesson plan for the students group. Students, they can be students of 8%, 10%, 10 standard. They are flexible and can perform the very easily, which will have an impact on the studies, skills and talent. We can use the stretching exercises, pranadharana, etc. at starting. Aim of the practice to develop healthy habits and lifestyle in children. If the now the present government is very much on the yogic side, the schools also they are going to make it compulsory. So that will have a good future to the children. They will be able to develop like a good citizens of India, to develop the human values in the children, to develop the physical and emotional and mental health through yogic activities, figure out the amount of the time we'll be teaching and break it down into segments. Make an outline, including an estimated amount of time for each subject. Analyze, determine the needs of your students. Plan your resources and materials. Engage your students. Engage your students. Uh, Instruct and perform present information. Allow time for the students to practice. Ending the lesson and evaluate the quality of the lesson. Okay. And outside, you should evaluate the quality of the then. What is the general category in corporates, IT, and financial sectors? Okay, these are included purposely. See, it is not there for a group diagram, but I have specialized in this sector. I have purposely brought out. What are the why? Because the stress level in the corporates are very high. The IT and financial sectors are increased stress during the course of the day-to-day work, which results into Vyadi. You might have seen students in Hyderabad, IT students in Hyderabad, when they come to your class, they are carried with the full stress. In the night, they work where US is working. Their clients are mostly US, all the IT companies. Okay. They work day and night, and so they are given different projects. Throughout the day, they are busy. So they are stressful and they are paid for it, and they are also accountable for the each and every second and each and every moment of this. Okay. So that's why the stress level goes on increasing, which ultimately results into Vyadi of various types. There's more stress level. Give them the practice for revision structure. Call them at the lunch time or post office time. Take post office time, that is means after the office hours. Take the confidence of the management department, ensure that their daily work is not hampered. Various practices proposed are Sushma Pranadharana in meditation, Kapalbhati, Vibhagya Pranayama, that sectional breathing, asanas of various types depending upon the age, Pranayama, Shavasana or Chaitanyasana in the last. Keep 3 days a week. See the results in 3 months through their performance in the work and their behavioral pattern. Now, patients categories such as asthmatic, diabetes, and this is another group. Okay, obesity. The above disease occur due to various factors. Diabetes can be hereditary. Obesity can be due to lifestyle. Asthmatic can be make them sick. Asthmatic patients are mostly because of the respiratory infections. Categories they make this sit in the groups, and yoga plus depending upon the practice are the patients and health conditions of the patients are proposed. Following under proposed Stula joint loosening, Kriyas like Kapalbhati, 3 rounds, Anulom Vilom, Vibhagya Pranayama, all Ashtakuma Pranayama, relaxation and deep relaxation with body awareness. Okay. Preferably when senior citizens are there, preferably try to avoid Kumbhak. Chalandaman, Udyanbang, try to avoid it. Vastrika in the later stages can be done. Initial, you have to see the effective role of Ashtakumbhak, that is mainly on the Anulom Vilom is not Ashtakumbhak. It doesn't form a part of the Ashtakumbhak as per Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Okay. It becomes more on. You can give them the practice of Ashtakumbhak, that is Shitali, Shitkari, Ujjai. Okay. Vastrika in the last. But the recitation of Brahmari will bring down the patient's level, stress level, and their Vyadi level also will come down drastically. In Brahmari nature. Now, guidelines for the practice of Kriyas now. Okay. What is the Kriya should be done with an empty stomach. Therefore, they should be done preferably in the morning. Kriya should be performed under the supervision of an expert. Each Kriya has specific process which should be strictly adhered to. Different things like water, salt, air, manipulation are useful for each Kriya. Research has been done that Pune Hospital during the COVID time, Dr. I forgot his name. We had come out with a solution that if the patients do Janliti, their immunity power can be increased. Okay. And this was practiced on many of the patients, and they found it that as an effective result on the breathing pattern of the respiratory function can be increased during this month. Also, with the addition of the Kapalbhati. Okay. Everybody knows, I did not go into detail. Kapalbhati is considered a Kriya, cleansing practice, which cleanses the frontal brain In Sanskrit, Kapala means the skull and Bhati means the shining. Kapalbhati helps to improve the functions of the organs located in the skull. Strokes of Kapalbhati begin with 20 strokes at a time. This is one round. One can practice 1 to 3 rounds in a practical session. Gradually increase the strokes in one round. Remember the following points. Okay. For asthmatic patients, all types of respiratory, all types of pranayama are very much helpful. But Kapalbhati is a kriya. It will be very much helpful so that the carbon dioxide which are there as a toxins will be removed more because of the active exhalation. You know the volume of the air which is inhaled is 5 times the normal air. For initial, when the normal breathing is going on, the air which is inhaled is 500 ml. When 5 times it comes to 2500 ml. On Kapalbhati, when you fix the shoulder, when you exhale out, it comes to around 1800 and 1900. With the balance 600, which is lying in the abdomen, it gives the abdominal strokes. So slowly, this 600 ml goes on reducing. That's why we say that in one stroke, we should have not more than 60 to 100. Okay. In 1 minute, the ideal stroke should be 120. That means in 1 second, 2 strokes. Okay. This is the usual ratio. But to start with, the students can start with 20, 30, increase it by week, and end up with a point of see their abdominal movement. Okay. What are do's and don'ts? Inhalation should be passive and short, while exhalation should be forceful. That means when you close the eyes, you can see the exhalation, but inhalation also takes place. The law of respiration states inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So each exhalation is followed by inhalation, each inhalation is followed by exhalation. Kapalabhati should be practiced after the asana, but before the meditation. Do not move the chest or shoulders during exhalation. Do not contract or distort the face. Benefit: it stimulates the nerves in the abdominal region, tones up the abdominal muscles, and improves the digestion. Kapalbhati expels more carbon dioxide and other waste gases from the lungs than the normal breathing. It improves the heart and lungs capacity and therefore good for bronchial asthma. It improves the blood circulation throughout the body. It energizes the body and removes the lethargy. Then we come to Agnisar. Limitation of Kapalbhati, those suffering from cardiovascular problems, high blood pressure, hernia, vertigo, and gastric ulcer should avoid practicing Kapalbhati. Especially, I will add furthermore, those who have undergone any surgery, hernia surgery or anything, okay, they should avoid for initially post 5 months to 3 months to 5 months, depending upon the gravity of the operation. If it's a major heart surgery, you should avoid for 6 months also. Open heart surgery or bypass surgery, or angioplasty and angiography, depending upon the case of the patient. Okay, not problem. Respiratory, depending upon the lung capacity, you have to go in for the Kapalbhati. Okay. Agnisa, Agni means the heat which is created on the stubborn, that Jataragni. Jataragni is the element which creates fire in the stomach, which thereby activating the digestion process and the activation of the pancreas so that a better insulin secretion can take place. It is considered as a kriya in the yogic practice. The meaning of Agnisar is to increase the gastric fire. In Sanskrit, the Agni means the fire and Sara means the essence. This kriya regulates the essence of the fire, which is supposed to be located in the navel region. This practice regulates the functioning of the abdominal organs. It is advisable to practice it on an empty stomach. Do practice it for 2 to 3 times. Avoid slightest inhalation or effort. Do not practice it after meals or nisar. It strengthens the abdominal muscles and nerves. It improves the gastric fire and stimulates the appetite. It elevates the constipation and sluggishness of the liver. It elevates the dullness and depression. Limitation: person suffering high blood pressure, heart disease, peptic ulcers, or chronic diarrhea should not perform this kriya. Now we come to the important point of guidelines for the practicing of asanas. Please remember, when you are taking a yoga class, nobody is interested in hearing your Hatava Pradipika or Patanjali devotions. Their aim is to come to the class, get their health updated, through asanas and pranayama. Make them understand the difference between exercise, gymnasium, and asanas. Try to emphasize the importance of asanas and how it is superficial than the exercise or the gymnasium, where there is imbalance of the breath, whereas we have the equalization of the breath. Perhaps more than that, in pranayama, exhalation is twice that of inhalation. The presence of Jalantarpan and Uddiyatman should be made emphasized. How the stress level get reduced, which otherwise cannot get reduced through exercise. Walking helps to burn the calories. Asana, the burning of the calories are slow. Okay. So on the weekdays when they are not coming on Saturdays and Sundays, you should advise them to do going for walking. Which we very teachers we don't do it. Though we advise the students, but we don't get the time because of our other engagements. Okay, these are the basics. Generally, the asanas are practiced in the sequence of standing, sitting, prone, lying, and supine lying posture. Though there is other version which follow. What are different sequence? Asanas must not be practiced in the force and under the emergency. When you come to the class, looking at the time, I have to go to the office. Baba, jaldi karo, jaldi karo. No. Jerk should be avoided. Asanas will be performed with body and breath awareness. Coordinate with the breath and the movements of the body parts. As a general rule, inhale while breathing. Without inhalation, you cannot attain the posture. After attaining the posture, close down the eyes, do the normal breathing. When you want to come out of the posture, open the eyes and come out, inhale and come out. This principle applies on all the asanas which you perform. Okay. Next point is, consciously you are relaxing the parts which are not extended, which are not relaxed. Okay. Bhujangasana, when you do, the associated part which is there is the pelvic region and below. The local part is the which is there is the neck, the cervical part. So the local is neck, associated with the lower back, and central nervous system acts on each and every part of the cell which is not raised. That is more on the pelvic side. Okay. It moves more toward the blood flow goes more toward the local side also, but pelvic side also it moves. So always remember the principle of LAC. It's a very beautiful product from Yoga Niketan. We emphasize on that. I've been a proud student of Yoga Niketan from Bombay under Dr. Padmashri Sadashi Nimbalkar, who went who bred this last year. The principles of Guru Shishya Parampara has to be emphasized. It is not a commercial class like a 10th standard or 12th standard engineering class. Because the Shishya who is taking the who is undergoing the classes from a teacher is from a guru and not from a teacher. Let me completely mentally surrender this one. Observe the discipline of yoga that is mentioned earlier, maintaining silence in the class, completely surrendering, understanding its concept behind that. Okay. Coordinate between breath and movement of the body parts as a general rule, inhale by that any part of the body and exhale when bending down. The practitioner has to follow the instruction with upward. Backward bending is through inhalation, forward bending is through exhalation. Not most of the housewives, ladies, they suffer from the backache because of that early stages of delivery or etc. And hormonal changes takes place post menopause. So lot of behavioral changes takes place in them. So thereby, because of the non-secretion of the hormones in the endocrine system. Okay. So the principles of Sthirasukhamasana, Prayatna Shaitila Mananta Samapatima, as per Padana, should be strictly adhered to. Sthirasukhamasana, going to the posture, closing the eyes, do the normal breathing, enjoy the postural this much, and then come up when you feel like coming out. The teacher's role gets over as soon as it reaches the posture. Then the mind plays the supreme part. The mind dominates. Then the mind says, come out of the, he has to open the eyes, he or she has to open the eyes and then come out of the posture and go in for relaxation. Every asana should be followed by Shavasana because every day we don't get the time to do the complete Shavasana at the end. So every asana should be followed by a Shavasana. These principles, because they're very easy to do the asana, but very difficult to make them understand the principles of the asana, which are lying and which are essentially important. Lessons in asana, final position should be attained slow by step, and should be maintained with closed eyes for developing an inward awareness with the body. And utmost care must be taken in increasing the time for maintaining the asana. Regular practice is essential. Body starts listening to your command only after regular and diligent training for a sufficient period of time. If regularity is disturbed due to some reason, then one should resume the practice within the minimum time. In the initial phase, asanas involve deconditioning and reconditioning processes. Okay. So this concept, so remember, conscious differential relaxation. Consciously you are relaxing the part which is not extended. In case of Saravasana, the upper part, the chest part gets relaxed. The local part of the pelvic region and the next below that, okay, the muscular part with the thigh muscles, the calf muscles, which are the local, which gets relaxed. The associated are the pelvic, the chest region and the head. Okay, then raising the leg up to a certain angular deviation, you feel comfortable. That is your Sthirasukhamasana. And not to exceed the capacity, be comfortable in the asanas. Your face should always be smiling. That is Prayatna Shaktilamanam Samapi. And you can do in any part of the season. Okay. Then Tato Dindwadi Abhijata. That means you could be able to absorb the heat and the pressure, heat and the cold, pain and dukkha, everything. Okay, the opposite pairs. Come to the next, come to the pranayama level. So these basic principles of asana should be given. After the initial practice of this, ultimately you come into unconscious differential relaxation. That means the relaxation takes place by default. By default, it takes place. Then we have the guidelines for pranayama. Pranayama refers to the universal life force, and Aima refers to the regulate. Prana is the vital energy, without which the body would not survive. Pranayama relates to breathing technique, which helps to increase the breathing capacity. Some common processes includes Anulom Vilom, Vastrika, Pranayamas, Ujjayi, Shitali, etc. The following points, pranayama should be done preferably after the practice. Should be done, sorry, after the practice asana. Breathing in pranayama should be done through the nose only, except Shitali and Chitkari. One thing I want to say, there are 3 openings in the body. One is the nose, second is the mouth, and third is the anus. So Moolbandh is mandatory for each and every pranayama. The mouth is always closed, but the Moolbandh by default it opens during the practice. Yes, because its original nature is open only. You are making it forcibly closed through your inhalation, but it has to preferably close throughout the practices. Okay, it will remain open, anus will get open, but see that it is closed back again. Okay, this principle has to be remembered, made aware to the students. When initially you lay a good foundation, then the students will automatically pick up. Okay, breathing in prana should be done to the nose and except Chitari and Chitkari, where we do it through the mouth. During pranayama, this should not be strained on facial muscles, eyes, ears, neck, shoulders, or any part. During the eyes should remain closed. In the beginning, one should be aware about natural flow of the breathing, make inhalation and exhalation, prolong. Anulom Vilom Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama is Nadi Shuddhi. We clean the nadis, clean the energy carrying channels. Which are the energy carrying channels? 70,000 nadis are there, out of which 10 nadis are important. And out of 10, the 3 nadis are Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna nadis, which are there. Ida nadi is the left nostril, is the Chandra nadi, which acts on the parasympathetic nervous system. And right nostril activates on the sympathetic nervous system, the seat of anger and the seat of Rajasic activity. That should be the principle of Shas Prashas and Ashtakumbha Kaspar Patarmana should be followed to get the optimum balance. Initially, after a few months of practice only, you will be taking the students to the level of Basrika. Initially, you can do with Brahmani nature, Shitali Shitkaris can be done. Okay, after the Ashtakuma. Basrika should be done at the later stage when the body gets fully acclimatized. Okay. Next. What are the do's and don'ts? Inhale the air slowly without bulging the abdomen. Keep the ratio of 1:1 or 1:2 between inhalation and avoid producing sound from the nose. Do not press hand on the nostril. That means do not raise your leg like this. Just touch it. Avoid retaining the breath in the beginning. Percent development in yoga and benefits. It calms down the mind and improves the concentration. It improves the functioning of all the cells of the body by providing a sufficient oxygenated blood. It purifies the blood. It improves the blood supply to the brain. It helps to regulate the blood pressure. It helps in managing the stress by reducing the anxiety. It is beneficial in many diseases such as asthma, high or low blood pressure, insomnia, chronic pain, endocrine imbalances, heart problems, hyperactivity, etc. Limitation in the beginning, retention of breath should be avoided. Please remember one thing. As a yoga teacher, you are not a doctor. Persons who are having high blood pressure or diabetes, their medicine should not be stopped because you are a doctor. Yes, the dosage can definitely be reduced. Suppose that for diabetes, one person is taking Difron or whatever diabetes tablet. If it is a higher dose, it can be reduced to a lower dose. If it is 50 mg, it can be reduced to 25 mg if available, or 10 mg. But the dosage will remain the same. It will get reduced after a few months of practice. That means the asanas are. Secondly, you should tell the patient or you should tell the student who are having a high BP. Whenever you go to check a BP to the doctor, always sit and relax. Have some glass of water. Read some booklets which are present outside the general practitioner. Then on the relaxed mind, go and take the BP. The reading at that time BP will be correct. Not in a hurry going to the office, you want to go to the office, suddenly check my BP, I mean stress level and all. No, that will not be the correct reading. Okay. Next, these are the important things of pranayama and speed. Then we come to dhyana. Practice of asana and pranayama, if performed before meditation, will help in developing the ability to sit in one position for a considerable period of time in meditation. Select a peaceful, calm, and quiet place for the practice of meditation. Allow your eyes to get closed gently to enter an inner awareness. A meditative practice involves many thoughts, memories, and emotions may surface on mind. Remain non-reactive to them. As you continue with this process for some time, you may feel an abstract and a non-specific awareness of the whole body. Now continue with the whole body awareness. In case of any difficulty, go back to the breathing awareness. In the beginning, it is generally difficult to observe the breath. Mind wanders. Do not feel guilty. Slowly but firmly bring on attention to your breath. Next. Now we come to the 10.12, evaluation, concepts and principles and application. Evaluation, how to evaluate the students and how to evaluate the classes. Okay. Excuse me, I'll have a glass of water, please, because my mouth is getting dry. Please excuse me. Yeah, evaluation. Practice scripting, especially if you are new to teaching. Use the extra copy of the lesson. Plan to practice at home. This helps you gain the confidence and ensure successful classroom instruction. This is more to the teacher. By walking through the lesson plan, you will find areas that might the after tweaking, after a complete lesson in the classroom, evaluate how it went, what parts worked, and which ones need adjusting. Give yourself a trivial room in each of the lesson plan to make. The term evaluation is closely related to a measurement. As I told you, there may be various type of students which are sitting before you. Some maybe just want to go to the office just to keep the body fit. There may be some students who may be health issues, having health issues, middle-aged students. They may be having some stress level, IT sector people. Then there may be students also, younger students who are having afternoon classes. So they'll be coming in the morning. So various type of students are there. So you have to evaluate each and every student. Okay. Newcomers should be taken separately. Who doesn't have the knowledge of yoga, who have not been practicing. Okay. Evaluation is description in terms of selected attributes and judging the degree of acceptability or suitability of that which has been evaluation is simple. It's a systematic process of determining to what extent the instructional objectives have been achieved. The technique of evaluation must be appropriate for the characteristics or performance to be measured. It involves the use of information collected by the process of measurement. Next, measurements. It is the science of collecting and ordering information about objects to be studied. It refers to a precise and quantitative value. I am more of a therapist. When I evaluate a patient, I take his complete profile. I take his complete medical papers. I interact with the doctors. Medical doctors and yoga doctors. Okay. And evaluate what process of therapy treatment I can give to them. Okay. Then only I proceed with the patient. Only. It is very slow process. Okay. The science of collecting and ordering the information of the objects to be studied, it refers to a precise and a quantitative value. It involves the use of the information collected by the process of measurement. It means a subjective judgment. Educators have been using summative assessments in various forms since the invention of schools and teaching. What is summative assessment? Summative assessment have in recent decades become a component of large unit school improvement effort, as they always have summative evaluation. Summative assessment and summative evaluation is different. Can help the teachers determine whether their participants are making adequate progress or meeting the expected learning standards, and results may be issued to inform the modifications to instructional technique lessons designs. Keep a spirit of competitiveness between the students. Conduct a test, a unit test, and evaluate the practices, evaluate the pranayama techniques, how it is beneficial, a theory Viva lecture also asking the students and try to evaluate where they stand, where the knowledge also they stand. Okay. Verify the qualification. Now this is regarding the workshop. This is regarding the camps workshop. Okay. How you evaluate the institution, yoga institution, and the yoga teacher faculty. What senior yoga teachers did each faculty member apprentice study with, etc. And are their senior teachers reputable? Check the reviews, feedback of individuals. They can ask in the practical examination, how do you evaluate a yoga class? How do you evaluate a yoga student? Okay. So these are the points which are to be remembered. What are summative assessment? They will ask. Feedback of the individuals whom have completed the particular yoga teacher training. You can correlate with the classes which you are taking, if any. Oh, the value of the yoga institute certificate is a certificate recognized throughout the world or just within a particular city or region. Will the yoga certification open the doors? Compare each yoga teacher training curriculum with the training at 200 hours, 500 hours, or 24 hours. Certificate. What does the yoga training cover? Classes with teachers who have previously gone through the problem. Do you like their style? Do they pay attention to the alignment? Huh? Do they provide options? Do they provide options? Okay. Now, assessment. Here we have gone for the evaluation. Evaluation is over, then we go for the assessment. One of the primary measurement tool is the assessment. The assessment should be carefully prepared and administered to ensure its reliability and validity. An assessment must provide consistent results and it must measure what it claims to measure. As per the following criteria, professional assessment board can give the overall grade to the yoga centers. Teaching to the level of experience and physical capacity of your students, offering the modified practices appropriate to the individual students, and explaining the area for caution relevant to individual medical students. Recognize that where you do not have the knowledge to safely teach a student, you should not do so. If you teach a group of specific needs, for instance, pregnancy class. Nowadays, this pregnancy class is in full swing, prenatal and postnatal courses. Because of the younger generation, because of the shortage of time in the IT field, in the offices, no leave being getting, they tell the doctors to go in for cesarean, CS section. Okay. They tell the doctors themselves. Recognizing that where you don't have the knowledge, if you teach children's classes or classes for special needs students, you must have a training or experience to do so safely. You cannot go like an ordinary class to a special students class. You cannot go to the usual asana because there are trimester cases in a pregnancy cases. First 3 months, second 3 months, ultimately the asanas become nil and pregnancy and pranayama becomes very effective in the last trimester. Similarly, in the first 3 months after post delivery, pranayama becomes, and as the body grows up, as the body gets developed, as the womb set rights, okay, uterus set rights, thereafter the normal period starts, then you can go in for the asanas. Okay. What are the risk factors? Nowadays, the risk factors also plays a very important risk assessment. More of care should be taken than rather than what are the risk factors which are involved while teaching. Okay. Seeking the information you need to teach your students in an informed way. This includes asking for information about the level of students' experience, physical capacity, and health. It also includes observing the students as you teach and adjusting your teaching according to your observations. Are a source of information enabling you to adjust your teaching to meet the needs of the individual students. Health questionnaires should also include a clause stating that where the students are receiving medical treatment or suffer from serious illness or injury or are in any doubt as to the state of health. You should always keep a register of those attending a class. Registers serve the several purposes, one of which is to record the witnesses or circumstances of an incident or the accident. Schemes of work for terms of teaching together with the class plans showing the practices, modifications offered, changes are made during the teaching should be noted. Okay. Then you come to 20th formative assessment and the second is the summative assessment. Now, what is the formative assessment? The less formal check instinct that you can do during the course of to see if people are picking up what you are throwing down as you go along. Formative evaluation is used in during the teaching of learning process to monitor the learning process. And formative evaluation is development in nature. The aim of this evaluation is to improve the students or participants' learning and teachers' teaching. Teacher using some tests to know what extent the instructional objectives has been achieved. Formative assessment practice as students and teachers using evidences of learning to adapt the teaching and learning to meet the immediate learning needs, minutes to minutes and day to day. In a typical yoga class, from start to finish, the students are practicing. The teachers tell the students the moves to follow and the student practice those moves. As the teacher walks around the class and observes what his or her students are doing, the teacher will make comments about how to improve the poses. Most of the time, the teacher makes general comments that everyone can use. The suggestions, corrections made in real time have an immediate impact on the practice to make the pose is better. While you are in the plank, push your weight throughout your heels. pushing your fingers back down, tucking your tail and tighten your stomach. This is the usual case while you are training the plant. It will have a very good results on the vertebral column, and especially on the pelvic region. Summative assessment, we have gone to formative assessment. Summative assessment at the end of course, like practicum and exams or total results. Summative assessment are given at the conclusion of a specific instructional period, and therefore they are generally evaluative rather than diagnostic. That is, they are more appropriately used to determine the learning process and achievement and evaluate the effectiveness of a program. Summative evaluation is terminal in nature. Its purpose is to evaluate the students' achievements or participant benefits. Generally, standardized tests are used for the purpose. In patients' cases, we can get the results from their pathological readings. It helps the teacher to know the effectiveness of the instructional procedure. Large number of skills can be tested in this evaluation. It is not regular and continuous process. It answers the question, the degree to which the students have mastered the course. Now this is the worksheet evaluation. We give 1 is strongly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neutral, 4th is agree, 5th is strongly agree. So accordingly, you have to evaluate. The presenter was very organized. The presenter began on time and used the time well. The presenter was extremely clear. That means the teacher or the guru who was teaching was well prepared with the subject. Okay, was responsive to the questions, and whatever the questions were put to him, they were able to respond. The presenter had good presentation skills. The presenter had the attendance of the audience. He was taking the lecture and he was moving the audience along with him. That means the audience was able to assimilate the talk which was given by him or her. Okay. The presenter was knowledgeable about the workshop topic. The presenter interaction was sufficient. The presenter well tailored to the audience. So according to the marks which the students view, the evaluation is done. And thereafter, the capability of the teacher is determined by the feedback of the students which is given. And last slide, but the least, what are the inferences of the workshop? What did you find most helpful about the workshop topic? List any suggestions to improve the workshop. Please suggestions. These are the new feedback forms that you take after the workshop is completed. These did not be taken in the yoga class, but in the workshop or the small capsule program which you are taking, that can be done. Thank you to Thane School of Yoga, where myself and this were there. Thank you very much.